Ladies and gentlemen, places please. Places please for the top of the show. Places please. Maestro, please stand by the pit. Maestro, please stand by the pit.
Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Have you ever thought about the evolution of the toaster? It's a fascinating story when you think about the toaster. Bread is transformed, bread is reborn as toast, a toast, a toast, to toast. The Papa Toast has only been around about a century. Really? There were models that they had designed for horizontal entry. Really? Can you imagine a world without toast? A toast, a toast, a toast, to toast. Then in the 60s, she invented the toaster oven. It was machine as metaphor. Bagels, croissants, English muffins. Let it all hang out. Texas toast. I've got lots of different models, you should come around and see them. You could say I have a sort of toaster shrine or a museum. Darnest to me, still a GE. A toast, a toast, a toast, two toast, two toast.
Ladies and gentlemen, lords and ladies, guys and gals, and those who enjoy a good tune, we welcome you to the Savannah Voice Festival Stay at Home Season 8 online. Tonight's event is Masters in Voice Part 2 in honor of the work with Michael Ching. Presented by the Savannah Voice Festival in cooperation with the Voice Experience Foundation. Understanding what inspires today's composers gives great insight into where our music is going in today's world. Join our composer-in-residence, Michael, in this journey that celebrates the world of music creation. Thank you for streaming with us, and on with the show.
Michael Ching is one of the most versatile and innovative composers of our operatic world today. His compositions are some of the most performed in the nation, and from his charming Midsummer Night's Dream to his more modernesque Speed Dating Tonight to Savannah Voice Festival's own classic original like Alice Riley, Ching speaks to audiences in an accessible voice. Conductor, administrator, pianist, and mentor, Michael Ching has held many prestigious positions in operatic companies and serves the opera world as advisor, administrator, and leader. We are all incredibly proud to call him our composer-in-residence, not just for opera, but for the great American songbook. I had the pleasure of working with Michael as a young singer when he ran Opera Memphis, and as Lauretta in Johnny Schicchi, I was given the honor of singing that character in the world premiere of the opera's sequel, Michael's now oft-performed Buoso's Ghost. In the past years, with Michael's inspiration, I returned briefly to the intimate stage of the Davenport House where my friend and colleague composed his second commission in our Savannah Ghost project, Anna Hunter, The Spirit of Savannah, which Michael wrote for my more, well, let's say, mature voice. Playing Anna was a joy, and collaborating with Michael Ching is nothing short of inspirational. Tonight, we celebrate Michael and introduce you to other composers in our world, both accomplished and just beginning on their path. Before the music sounds, the composer writes, and before he or she writes, they are inspired. From the earliest of operatic composers like Purcell and Handel to modern giants like Floyd and Bernstein, Michael Ching stands as a modern voice in the American repertoire. And we are all the better for it.
Well, I'm delighted to be talking to you, Libby, and I have known about you since you were a graduate student at the University of Minnesota, and I was in high school in St. Paul. So the first question that we're putting to all of the composers today is, why the human voice? You know, the Savannah Voice Festival is a voice festival. We wanted to talk today about your vocal music and what attracts you to the human voice.
The human voice is the UR instrument. We all possess one. We all breathe. We all make sound, and we carry the spirit of our emotions in our breath and our sound and on our voices.
So, Libby, the Savannah Voice Festival was planning to do your Try Me Good King in total, and it's a fabulous and interesting piece, and I'm curious as to how you came up with the inspiration to do such a wonderful and interesting song cycle.
I had no idea that I would ever write a song cycle based on the last words of the Wives of Henry VIII. But in the late 1990s, I was given an opportunity to write a piece for the Marilyn Horne Foundation, a work for that year's grand prize winner, wonderful soprano, Megan Miller. And I began to think, where did we get this politicizing of power couples? And light bulb, boom, Wives of Henry VIII, boom. That's it. I'm going to write the last words, the cycle on the last words of the Wives of Henry VIII. It was an amazingly rich fabric to study each of the queens with an eye towards writing music to their words, but really giving soul to each of the queens individually.
That's wonderful. So, as a kind of preview or teaser to doing the whole work in a future season, I know we're going to have Ripley, one of our studio artists, do one of the pieces for us now.
Right.
And yourself into mine. my part. I pardon you everything, and I wish to devoutly pray God that He will pardon you also. For the rest, I commend unto you our daughter Mary, beseeching you to be a good father unto her. Lastly, I make this vow, that my eyes desire above all things, above all things.
If you could have lived at any time as a composer, what time would that be?
Yeah, I'd like to live 50 years from now, and be a composer at that time, because I'd like to know how the instruments that that are available to tell the story of being alive have evolved 50 years from now. It's going to be a whole different.
That's a great answer, because as all composers, we're all curious about which pieces of ours are going to be around 50 years from now. Well, that's terrific. It's we thank you so much for having engaged us on the Zoom about this Try Me Good King, and we look forward to inviting you to Savannah and showing you the wonderful hospitality that the board and audience in Savannah can do. And so we'll look forward to inviting you to Savannah sometime.
Thank you. I look forward to it, and everybody stay safe and take care.
So I guess just a brief word about myself. I'm Patrick Vu. I was born in Southern California, in Orange County, lived there for about 15 years of my life before moving to Texas. So now I live in Allen, Texas, which is north of Dallas, and eventually found myself at TCU. So I'm a double major in vocal music education and music composition at Texas Christian University in Fort Worth. And I'm entering my senior year now, which feels weird to say, but I'll be there for an extra year to finish the double major and other projects that I have. I wanted to try to write music, and at first, my first few attempts were not that great. I'm fully aware of that, but I kept trying and trying, and eventually I found things that I liked, and I just think that the human voice is so capable of expressing so much. How every human voice is different. Most instruments have different tone colors and whatnot, but I think that the human voice is the most versatile and the most unique.
We wanted to share or have you talk about a piece called In Between that you sent us, which is a lovely, I guess, well, tell us about it, because we're gonna play it here after you've talked about it.
Yeah, I'm really happy to talk about this piece. It's one of my favorites. In Between was written for a very, very good friend of mine named Audrey Birchfield, and she's actually the singer in the video. And I asked her what text that if she had any text in mind, and she actually sent this poem that she had written. And so I spent a long time writing this piece and found reached a roadblock. Couldn't figure out how to figure out this ending. Or just what theme I wanted to latch onto. And so one night I called her while I was in the practice room at like 1 a.m. working on her piece, and asked her does she have a favorite chord? Just a silly question. If she has a favorite chord, just something that I can try to incorporate so that I make it hers, make that piece more authentic to her. And she said that her favorite chord is a C major 7 chord. And I asked why, and she said, well, it's very relaxing to me. It's very soothing. And so I asked her, okay, what if I took that idea and outlined, it's a 4-note motive and 4 words in that phrase. What if I outlined, I'll take you home? And so I varied a little bit and had that motive playing throughout the piece.
That's great. We're gonna roll it now. And the setting is In Between, set by Patrick Fu.
Like sleep, when dreams keep rest and peace just out of reach, and home just doesn't feel like home when you hear the floorboards creak from only just 2 feet. Doesn't feel like love with this much distance in between. And rich, this doesn't feel like rich. I'm pocket poor, but I still have a lot to give. And work, this doesn't feel like work. As I sing, I live a life I know nothing or distance in between. So, if you wanna go home now, if you wanna go home now, if you wanna go home now, oh, if you wanna go home now. I'll take you home. I'll take you home. I'll take you home. I'll take you home. So if you wanna go home now, if you wanna go home now, I'll take you
That's lovely. That's lovely. Congratulations. If you were able to live in any time as a composer, what time would that have been?
If I'm being completely honest, I actually really enjoy the time period that I'm currently in. So I don't know if that's the
You
that's
win the
answer.
prize because that is actually the answer that everyone has given. There's no time like the present.
We're very happy to welcome to our composer's conversation with our composer in residence, Michael Ching, a young artist, a composer, also a singer. But we're here to talk about his composition and probably how it relates to his singing. But this is the very talented and one of our guest artists for the summer, Scott Joyner.
Wow, what a great introduction. Thank you so much. Hi, Michael. Good to see you.
Yeah, it's good to see you on the Zoom.
On the Zoom, I got my coffee. I'm ready to go.
Question that we've started asking people is about, why the human voice? I mean, as a composer, we have this incredible palette available to us of all different kinds of sounds and instruments, and now electronics. And what has drawn you to to composing for the human voice?
To compose just means to put together. And if you think of it that way, it's super liberating. And so for me, the voice was natural because it was something I was already doing. And I heard music vocally and I heard music pianistically. And as you know, a lot of composers struggle with the voice because it's so different from any other instrument.
You've shared this really wonderful, Langston Hughes setting that you've done, and it's been done like a music video. And I actually listened to it twice. I mean, I was fascinated by it. And so I was wondering if you could explain a little bit about this setting to the audience.
Sure. So it came up because the singer, Matthew Gamble, he came to me about a year ago with this poem that he had recited as a child that had great meaning to him. And he said, I've always wanted to find a composer to set this. My goal with it was to incorporate hints of gospel music, but also some, the opening is sort of a Charles Ivesian tone cluster sound. But to see if I could find a way to weave these different voices together and tell the story of this woman's life. And I also knew the poem was quite short and Matthew wanted a 4 to 5 minute piece. So I knew I was going to have to repeat text. And so I was going to have to find a way to give certain text different meanings and different repetitions and underline certain parts of the poem. And I even added a word, just the word mother, repeated several times at the beginning as a way to bring the memory of the mother into the music, so that the singer might be a person like standing on the subway platform and something happens, a person passes or an event happens, and suddenly the memory of their mother comes flooding back to them.
Well, son, I'll tell you. life for me ain't been no crystal stair. Life for me ain't been no crystal stair. It's had tacks in it, and splinters, and boards torn up, and places with no carpet on the floor. Splinters, boards torn up, no carpet on the floor. But all the time I've been a climbing on, I've been a climbing on, and reaching landings. I've been a climbing on, I've been a climbing on, and reaching landings, and turning corners, and sometimes going in the dark, where there ain't been no light. So boy, don't you turn your back. Don't just sit down on the steps, 'cause you feel it's kinda hard. Don't you fall, for I still going, honey. I still climbing, I still going, I still climbing, I still climbing. Life for me ain't been no crystal stair. Life for me ain't been no crystal stair.
That's amazing. And then how did you decide to do the movement component of the video?
The trick with this poem was the theatricality of it. And in a recital setting, so often the singer has so many technical things to think about that they're really standing in place. It really was organic, this idea of having a dancer, especially with Matthew's background in dance. We didn't know that this movement was going to happen when we made this.
Really? Oh my
not at all. No. Like, we had planned to release it on the 4th of July 3 months ago, before any of this protest and so we didn't want to, we were not opportunists with this movement, but at the same time we realized that the thing that we were trying to say in this music was the same thing, and so it just coincided really just randomly.
Wow.
But, yeah. Anyway, I'll let you guys go.
Amazing.
Thanks again.
I'm Jamie Cradle. I'm the director of the Davenport House Museum. The Davenport House is a 1820s federal style house. It's a survivor from the early 19th century, and it's our job to talk about what life was like in the port city in the 1820s using the house as an example. Our other claim to fame is the 1950s, when the Davenport House was saved from demolition by 7 Savannah ladies who knew that if the Davenport House was destroyed, what would come next. So we started the historic preservation movement, a grassroots movement to save the old city. So we are just so proud to be involved with such a vivid and effervescent cultural institution, the Savannah Voice Festival. I'm not really a big believer in ghosts, but if we have a ghost, it's Dana Hunter. Her vision of what Savannah could be from the past is why we're here. That one person can make such a tremendous difference.
Sometimes you need a little knock on the head to move forward. Sometimes you need a little knock on the head to move forward. Sometimes you need a little knock on the head to move forward.
Sometimes you need a little knock on the head to move forward.
Sometimes all you need is a little knock, just a knock on the head. Sometimes all you need is a little knock, just a knock on the head. Sometimes a little touring trotting forward. Sometimes you need a little touring trotting forward. Sometimes you need a little head to move forward. Sometimes you need a little head to move forward.
I think this is highly inappropriate and will doom this piece to being ignored by future generations. How can we condone this? Sometimes you need a little knock on the head to move forward.
Sometimes you need a little knock on the head to move forward. Sometimes you need a little knock. Sometimes you need a little knock on the head. Sometimes you need a little knock on the head. Sometimes you need a little knock on the head. Sometimes you need a little knock on the head. We love you, Savannah. We love you, Savannah. But like any place, sometimes you need a little knock on the head to move forward. I couldn't help but notice the bow tie. It seems like an actual bow tie, not a clip-on or pre-tie. I'd rather die than wear one of those. I'm so glad. When did you learn to do it? My dad taught me how to do them years ago. It seems like the art of a time gone by, like candles or onces or homemade pie. Homemade pie. It's such a shame how times have changed. Things are better now. Yes, of course. We sound like our parents. Or maybe our grandparents. Mademoiselle. Oui, monsieur. May I have this dance? Avec plaisir.
here, the doctrines of toxic masculinity, ultra-elitism, and fascistic crony capitalism can take a permanent seat. But there's something about a man in a bow tie.
Thank you.
Something that gives me new hope for mankind. Dapper and neat, understated, yet chic. Bow tie, bow tie, bow
My story's not so simple, but just like some of you, I can sing with more than one voice and have so many things to say. We have a voice, we tell stories, we sing songs, we have a voice. Use it wisely, 'cause the echo carries on and on. The echo carries on.
No facor l'estre.
Hello, I'm Joseph Calzada, and I've been working in the voice studios since 2018 when I attended the Walt Disney World program called the Florida Voice Project. To grow within the safety of voice experience and the festival has been amazing. And one highlight for me is having Michael Ching as my conductor from last year's The Little Prince. One favorite story from the production is we had many children from the local school in Savannah, the Garrison School of the Performing Arts, sing with us on stage. And Michael did an outstanding job in helping these young singers. Thanks, Michael, for all your great work with us all. And thanks everyone for watching.
Maybe this'll be the day loneliness ends. This might not be the best time to show you my heart. This might not be the right place to bear my soul. But if not, now when? But if not, now when? If you never start, how can loneliness end? I've been burned before, but I won't let it stop me. I won't let love pass and go on without me. So will colors flying sharp and clear. My love will find me standing right here. This might not be the best time to show you my heart. This might not be the right place to bear my soul. But if not, now when? But if not, now when? If you never start, how can loneliness end? If you never start,
And if you'll indulge me, I would love to know, Michael, when would you go back as a?
I would like to live in the 20s, 30s, and 30s in the U.S. I mean, I've been curious about, I'd love to have been around to have seen George Gershwin live, and to have gone to Harlem to see, jazz as it was just emerging. Maybe to have that to me would have been the period. I mean, before that, I would have actually liked to have gone to some really weird ancient time, like ancient Greece, where I could have. I picture myself wandering around with a lyre and singing, songs about wine.
That's about right. Maybe you did.
Yeah, maybe I did. Right.
Maybe that's why we get along.
That could be.
Before I go, I want to thank our sponsors, Jan and Sam Durham and Toby Hollenberg. Also, thanks to Maria and Cheryl and the entire Savannah Voice Festival staff. Stay safe, stay snug, and we will see you down the road, Savannah. This is Michael Ching.
This is Andrew Bizatz, your festival MC, and on behalf of all of us here at the Voice Programs, we thank you for joining us for the second installment of our Masters in Voice. We welcome you back for our next event, Virtual Broadway, this Friday, August 21st at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and enjoy musical theater in fun parody. Mark your calendars and don't miss a note.
admit it. Even the most workaholic amongst you has sometimes felt this way. Life has its highs and lows, its fasts and slows, its lulls, nulls, and dulls. And just as sometimes you are dealt the ace of hearts, sometimes all you get is the 3 of clubs. So, club that guilty feeling and let your lazy ass trump your OCD. Now everybody! My lazy ass has trumped my OCD. My get it done's been swamped by let it be. Today this comfy couch will be my destiny. 'Cause today my lazy ass has trumped my OCD. My lazy ass has trumped my OCD. My lazy ass has trumped my OCD. My get it done. Been swamped by let it be. Tuesday this comfy couch. That's okay. My destiny. 'Cause today my lazy ass has trumped my. All right. Can you do? Are you really? That's awesome. All right, one more. Ellie, you want to try it?
This has been an original production of the Savannah Voice Festival in partnership with Voice Experience, celebrating 20 years of training, artist development, and community outreach in the art of singing. Please take care in leaving your couch or love seat, and don't forget to turn off your device before you leave the room.